Good evening. A warm welcome to each and every one of you to this special lecture on Uniform Civil Code organized by Bengali Academia for Social Empowerment. Bengali Academia for Social Empowerment, popularly known as BASE, is a development initiative by a section of young academicians who join hands with the professionals of various fields with a plea to bring positive change in the lives of marginalized sections of our population, specifically the Muslims. It was incorporated into a trust towards the end of 2018. BASE follows the two approach to bring its dream into reality. On the one hand, studying and researching to identifying the various obstacles which are preventing marginalized people to get opportunities. On the other hand, creating aspirations within them for their progress, equipping them through proper training to complete and successfully exploit opportunities, motivating them for hard work and instilling a sense of confidence within them. Members of BASE have a dream of transforming the lives of the marginalized sections of the population. It has a proven strategy, a plan, and a band of dedicated workers who can translate their plan into realities. It's my great honor to introduce our distinguished chair for the today's special lecture on Uniform Civil Code, Dr. Sarfaraj Ahmed Khan. Dr. Khan is an accomplished academic and legal expert known for his significant contributions to the field of law and justice. Dr. Sarfaraj Ahmed Khan currently holds the position of Associate Professor at the School of Criminal Justice and Administration. Dr. Khan's dedication to his professions extends beyond his academic role as he is actively associated with the several other organizations on a voluntary basis. He completed his LLB from South Calcutta Law College under Calcutta University in 1998. Subsequently, he pursued his LLM from West Bengal National University of Juridical Science in Kolkata 2003. He obtained another LLM from Essex University, United Kingdom in 2005. We are privileged to have him as our chairperson for this lecture, and we eagerly look forward to his valuable and insight guidance. I now hand over the session to Jaira Hussain, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Surendranath College, to introduce the speaker. Over to you, Jaira. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tania. And once again, a very good evening to ma'am and Sarfaraz sir and everyone else who have joined this meeting today. It's my honor to get this opportunity to introduce our today's esteemed speaker, FLAVIA Agnes. She lives and works in Mumbai. From 1988, she has been a lawyer at the High Court of Mumbai. She is a women's rights lawyer and pioneer of the women's movement in India, focused on issues of gender and law reforms. As co-founder of Majlis, a legal and cultural resource center, her primary engagement has been to provide quality legal services to women and children. She has played an important role in bringing women's rights to the forefront within the legal system and in contextualizing issues of gender and identity. A prolific writer, she has provided incisive analysis of domestic violence, minority law reforms, secularism, and human rights. Significant among her many publications is her autobiographical book, My Story, Our Story, of Rebuilding Broken Lives, translated into several languages and in its fourth edition. Other publications include Law and Gender Inequality, The Politics of Personal Laws in India, which was published in 2001, and Women and Law in India, and omnibus comprising Law and Gender Inequality, Enslaved Daughters, Hindu Women and Marriage Law, 2004, with Sudhi Chandra and Monomoyi Bosu. So today, as you all know, we are going to have this discussion on and this lecture by Flavia ma'am on UCC. So, and it is absolutely our pleasure and honor to have you with us on board, ma'am. I would now request you to kindly take over the session and deliver the lecture. Thank you so much.
the the coordinators will say some words. Who you introduce first?
Ma'am, we all are hearing, we are waiting for you to hear. So we can hear you. And then in between, we can have some question answer session and we can put some comment that point of time. Yeah.
Okay, now this uniform civil code debate is raging. It's got a lot of boost, as you can see in the last fortnight or so, since the 22nd Law Commission has put out that note saying that views are, uh, please write your views to the Law Commission about what you think of the uniform civil code. This has been my engagement for a very long time. I worked on this issue for many years, and my position is the same, that unless thorough exploration has gone into it, you can't just enforce a uniform civil code. Now, this issue got a boost yesterday because the Prime Minister, in a lecture in Bhopal, has called for a uniform civil code in answer to a question that was raised by the booth workers in Madhya Pradesh. And since then, all TV channels and the whole media, everybody wants to have a debate on this, take political views, different kinds of political parties, etc., Muslim Personal Law Board, various things. BJP, everybody's views they want to take. Now, what is my concern here? My concern is that Law Commission has given 1 month time since 14th of June to give your views. And everybody is supposed to give their views whether they want a UCC or they don't want a UCC. Now here, in 2018, the 21st Law Commission brought out a report saying reform in family laws, and it very clearly mentioned that a UCC is not needed or desirable at this juncture. But they made a lot of changes as recommendations regarding changes in the family law of different communities. And he said the need now is to weed out the gender discrimination in every personal law. And we must have uniform non-discriminatory laws in every personal laws. So that was very sensitive report and it was very welcome. But the government did not do anything at all. And now they brought out this. But the problem is, there is no draft at all. You're supposed to give your views, but you are supposed to give your views in blanket. There's a void over there. So what is this UCC going to be? To whom it will matter? Why it should matter? None of these issues are for discussion. And this is a vast subject. It's not a small subject. There are many, many issues that are concerned with this. And the Law Commission has not given a clue what it is going to be, and it says that give your views. So what do you give your views to? This is one of the major concerns that is going on, and everybody is very worried about what's going to happen, particularly after Prime Minister's yesterday's call for implementation of a UCC. Now, yesterday's Prime Minister's call is even more disturbing, but it talks about only Muslim personal law. It says that Muslims have remained backward because political parties are instigating them against the UCC. Pasmanda community and others have remained backwards because there is no UCC, etc. So it appears that UCC is required only for the sake of the Muslims. And this is a very biased view. And it's also brought in now. Whole question is, why is it brought in now? It's brought in now as a political gimmick, as an electoral strategy to divide the community, because there are a lot of people from different minority communities who are against this law. and the majority are in support. So this was the problem. So now coming to the recommendations, why the recommendations of the 21st Law Commission were accepted? Because they did not target any community. It dealt with all communities equally. It dealt with the Hindus, Muslims, everything. Yeah, Sunni, everything. Hello? Hello, is there a disturbance?
No, ma'am, you are audible. We can all hear you. All the participants, please keep your mic on mute. Yes, ma'am, you can start. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Firstly, the question is, why did the government not implement any of the recommendations of the 21st Law Commission? Why is no draft prepared for a public response? Why such a short time is given of a 1 month period to give responses? And what do you give your responses to? These are some of the very major concerns. Here, the 21st Law Commission very clearly pointed out discrimination against Hindu women under the Hindu law. And they said we must abolish the HUF property because only Hindu males get benefited by it. So, and it is discriminatory against other communities. It's also discriminatory against women. So, very clearly it is brought out that abolition of HUF property, uniform age of marriage, equal inheritance rights for girls and men and women within each personal law, including the Muslim law, etc. There are some very good recommendations here. Not one issue was taken up for a discussion. Not one issue was taken up for a debate. So now this has put us in a very precarious situation that you are supposed to answer yes or no to the UCC. And if you answer no to the UCC, you are put on a back foot. Because already Prime Minister said that those who oppose the UCC are instigating the Muslim community and they are misguiding them. So, that is the entire crux of the matter. So now how do you respond? How does everybody respond? So firstly, there is the entire issue where you have to say, we want gender justice. We want equality. We want recommendations of the 21st Law Commission to be brought into effect. Only then we can move forward. Otherwise, we cannot move forward. But today, the government is not in a state to hear this. Government wants to move ahead with the UCC. So in this context, hello? So in this context, what do you do? Is it to say that we welcome a UCC and then suggest changes that we not want this to be changed, we want this to be changed, we want this to be changed, and tell the government that yes, uniform civil code, yes, but with these changes, with these recommendations, these are our recommendations, rather than saying a blanket no to uniform civil code, because government seems to be very clear and very determined to bring in a UCC. The other thing is to say clearly no and implement the 2018 Law Commission report, which said that uniform civil code is neither needed nor necessary at this stage. So that is the other point. Between these 2 points, we have to now debate and say what do we actually want. So I'm sure there has been discussion amongst you, and a lot of people are concerned about what is happening. So the question is like simple thing is age of marriage. Now 18 is the age of marriage for girls and 21 is the age of marriage for boys under the Hindu law and under the Special Marriage Act. But if you see, a large number of Hindu girls are married before attaining the age of 18. There are a lot of child marriages and nothing is happening to them at all. So in a situation like this, despite having a law, marriages are taking place when Hindu girls are very young, and to a boy who's much older, to a man who's much older. So there it is not worked at all. So how do we think somewhere it's going to work and in some other context it's going to work? So these are concerns. Registration of marriage, compulsory registration of marriage. What does it mean? That a marriage is not registered, that means it's not valid. It is a void marriage. Then if it is a void marriage, then who suffers? It is the women who will suffer because they will have no rights because the marriage is invalidated. And when they get married, they are so young. So how do we protect women? 18 is fine, but how do we protect women in that? Similarly, other Hindu customs. What's going to happen to them? So these are some of the, there are like so much of bride burning cases. There's so much of dowry harassment cases. There's so much of discrimination against Hindu girls at the time of marriage. So all these we need to look at. We also need to look at Muslim law. Particularly what is now being targeted is Muslim polygamy. But the 2018 Law Commission clearly stated that polygamy among Hindus is even more than Muslims. So this is the reality on the ground. Yet we have to oppose polygamy. We have to oppose adultery. And we have to say we want uniform law for all these things. So this is the situation we are in. We have to look at his personal law. Prime Minister kept on saying triple talaq, triple talaq. According to me, triple talaq is made void. Triple talaq is not valid at all. There's also been a law for criminalization of triple talaq. So what more can you do legally? It's already done away with. And a husband who pronounces talaq 3 times on his wife, it is not valid at all since the Sarah Banu judgment. It's been invalidated. And within 6 months, the law came. Hello, somebody raised his hand. Yeah, we can take questions afterwards. So, or whenever you all want me to stop and take questions, that is also fine with me. So please let me know. So these are my trends. This is where I am thinking. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but I'm sure you all have different viewpoints, and we can discuss some of these as we go along. So anybody has questions right now? Anybody has questions right now?
If anyone has questions, you can raise your hand, or ma'am, you can complete your talk and then we can invite questions from the participants.
Yeah, that is also fine.
Yeah.
That's also fine. Yeah, so these are my main points. And I come from a minority community myself. So when the law comes like this and not mentioning discrimination under Hindu law, but only targets minority communities, I also get very worried and very concerned about it. So we need to look at it in a very comprehensive manner. And there is a need for everybody to write to the Law Commission saying your opposition, why we are opposing the Uniform Civil Code. First of all, India is a vast country. India is culturally very, very diverse country. It's a pluralistic country. And one nation, one law slogan may not work for us at all. This is one of the major concerns. Secondly, there are vast areas where laws are governed by the tribal customs. And these customs are protected. There are many, many states where this tribal law operates, and they are given constitutional protection. And even if it's passed by the parliament, unless their local tribal council accepts it, it will not be implementable. So there is another concern that how are we going to protect tribal customs and tribal communities? Because they function in a very different manner. When we say uniform age of marriage is 18, we know that many tribal communities, the marriage takes place much earlier. When they are 12 or 13, the marriage takes place. So how will they accept this? Can we impose it on them? Then there are concerns with the SC/ST communities, because OBC communities, because they have certain privileges because of their caste and communities. But now, if you have a uniform civil code, everything will be wiped out, and there'll be uniform law applicable to everyone. So vulnerable sections will suffer even more. The vulnerable sections who are given special protection, that protection will be taken out, and law will be uniform for everybody. And how are we going to implement this? That's my last question. How are we going to see that it is followed? We are not able to implement the Hindu law for age of marriage. And I think the statistics here is like 8,40,000 or 84,000. Girls are married when they are below 18 years or below 12 years also. So now, how do we, when the law was there formed in 1955, and age was raised in 1976, and yet we are still grappling with how to deal with age of marriage. Now in Muslim law, it is age of puberty. And after that, you can get marriage is allowed. Now that to change that and make it 18, especially when communities where this practice was introduced have not followed. So now those who are not following, if we bring it in, how it will impact, how it will affect. That is another major concern for us. So like that, you can prohibited degrees are there. Different communities have different prohibited degrees. So one law, they have not even said which one we will follow, which prohibited degrees are allowed and not allowed, banned, etc. And each of these need discussion. Each of these issues need a wide discussion. And there's no time to discuss. But at the same time, we have to write and respond to the law commission, maybe as per time, maybe saying that this is too complicated and we need to look more deeply. It cannot be just a political gimmick. It cannot be an electoral propaganda. We need to really study it. I'm not saying we are opposing uniform civil code. We want to have a deeper understanding of it. We want to see where are the areas government is thinking of bringing changes, and then only we can respond to it. So these are my main concerns, and I will stop here now, and we can see how to carry this debate forward.
Thank you, ma'am. So you have covered almost every aspect, starting from the how the Prime Minister's comment has bring the political angle to it, and now from 2 days, every news channels, every newspapers are covering the Uniform Civil Code issues, and the challenges are many. So it's I was reading somewhere this northeast tribal issues you have pointed out, and then many places, like for instance says in Garo tribe of Assam, Meghalaya, they follow matrical systems. There are some tribes
System,
where eldest daughters get the inherit the property. So there are so much diversity within the countries, and presently throughout the world we cherish the diversity. When we cherish the diversity, bringing one law will be counterproductive for any society. So it's not good for the societies. And also I reminded with Justice A.M. Bhattacharjee, who was Chief Justice in Bombay High Court and Calcutta High Court. While he was taking our constitutional law class during my LLM days, he used to refer, he has given a Tagore law lecture on family law. And he says that the only way ought for uniform civil code could be to interpret it. Uniform does not mean a singular law. Uniform means some basic parameters will be there, which can be applied to different laws. And code means codes in the law. So you might have a different laws for different religions, and some basic parameters can be fulfilled. So and the reform can come from the community themselves. So that could be one of the ways in which in future, if the government wants, reforms could be within the Hindu family law, Mohammedan family law, Christian family law. So in that way, some changes can be brought in, but not as a political gimmick what the government is doing today, which is definitely not in the anyone's interest. It's only politicians' interest to talk about uniform civil code today. So let me open for the questions, and it is open for everyone to raise your questions, or you can raise your hand so we can ask you to ask question. Okay. So, Mohammad Rayan Ali, yeah, you can ask the questions. Rayan, you can, Mohammad Rayan Ali, you can ask questions. Yeah.
Oh. Sir, my question is that Uniform Civil Code came in support of and reform the personal law or completely abolish the personal law and impose a new law, UCC.
Hello?
It,
I can't understand.
Okay,
yes,
ma'am, his question is
UCC.
whether this attempt to bring uniform civil code is an attempt to completely abolish personal law and bring one new law, or so whether it's an
Or come
abolition
into
of
the
the
form
personal
of
law, yeah,
reform.
or what
Came
kinds of
into the
reform?
form
Yeah.
of reform, the personal law.
Yeah, it looks like all laws will be all laws will be taken out and uniform civil code will prevail. This seems to be the design, and that's where the concern is, because there are so many customs, traditions, etc., practices of marriage, divorce, etc. And if you have one law where everybody has to agree for this, that is detrimental, and that will extinguish a diversity and pluralistic traditions of a country. So this is a very big concern. And when you say all personal laws will be taken out, there are about 20, 30 laws. Muslims different laws, Christian different laws, Parsi different laws, Hindus different laws, different issues have different laws, property different laws, marriage and divorce different laws. So how many laws are we going to repeal to bring this uniform civil code? Nobody has thought about it. In fact, in a document my office has listed, my colleague has listed all the laws that need to go. It's about 25, 30 laws, statutes. So that is a very valid question.
We can take next questions from Karish Mene. Yeah. Karish, you can ask questions. Yeah.
Hello?
Cherish, your hand is raised. You can ask questions now. You can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. Okay, I think by mistake he has raised hand. Okay, so any other, no, still. Any other person has any questions? Yeah.
I from Murshidabad want to ask a question that
Mhm.
Madam said that there will be discrimination on the Hindu women too. So is any protest coming from their side presently?
Pardon?
Ma'am, his question is, as you said, that there will be discriminations among Hindu women also, because there's a discrimination in the Hindu laws against the women. So, is there any protest coming from the Hindus in respect of uniform civil code? That's his argument. Yeah.
Actually, nobody's addressed the Hindu inheritance rights, and even the Prime Minister has not addressed them. So basically, people are not aware that it's going to affect Hindus also. So it's very important that we discuss that we bring it to the forefront and say our uniform law will affect also Hindus, not just Muslims or Christians. But the government may be only targeting Muslims and not taking other issues. That is also possible, because we are not seen it around. At the moment, the issue is not in the forefront. Only Muslim polygamy and triple talaq is in the foreground.
Yeah. Chiranjit, you
I've got a question.
yes, yeah, Krish, yeah. You can ask question, yeah.
Yes. This is from Meghalaya, about Meghalaya context, about the tribes of the Meghalaya state. We are being governed by customary laws. And we do have a sixth schedule. So if this board is functional, so to what extent will the sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution safeguard our bridal rights?
In fact, Meghalaya is opposed very strongly. And they have said we don't want this uniform civil code.
Yes.
And because there is precisely this concern that how tribal communities will be protected. And they have a constitutional protection. They cannot just be overridden by Article 44. So this we need to look at very carefully. And they have to write to the Law Commission saying that for this reason we are not acceptable. Unless our customs are recognized by this and we are given an exemption by the Uniform Civil Code, we cannot accept it. This has to be their strategy.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Chiranjit, can you ask questions? Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. Your talk has really opened up many points to be discussed. My when I listen your talk, some points are coming in mind. So I'm just asking, can we frame this discussion in terms of Ambedkar's effort to act Hindu Code Bill that time? Because when we see women's movement, one of the agenda of women's movement is also to pass the universal UCC. And when Ambedkar also that time trying to pass the Hindu Code Bill, he also have faced many that time protest and other thing. So how we can see or how we can go towards UCC if we have to like how ma'am you said about the gender justice. Yes, ma'am.
I agree with you that we have to look at gender justice only. And then only we can bring in changes as per gender justice, as per the 21st Law Commission's recommendations. Because even when the Hindu law was passed, there was a lot of agitation and people did not agree, including Rajendra Prasad, the president of the country, did not agree. And then when they brought property, there was even more furor and women were denied. There was totally against abolition of Hindu undivided family property. That was retained till recently. So there was always opposition to that. So in that context, when there was so much opposition for implementing an Hindu code bill, you can imagine the opposition that's going to be there for the uniform civil code. But now the government and the Prime Minister is not talking about Hindu law reform. They're only talking about Muslim law. So we need to bring the Hindu law discrimination to the foreground and we need to discuss that in detail. That is very important to make it more universal and not specifically targeting Muslims.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, one Sajjad Ali Khan has raised question. He says, ma'am, the Bhaga or Mitakshara, which thought of a school of Hindu law will prevail in UCC? So over to you for this view. Yeah.
At the moment, we are not following only Mitakshara. We're not, except in Bengal, the Daya Bhaga is only followed in Bengal, but other places only Mitakshara. Now, in the Mitakshara, in the HUF property, women have no rights. So now that got changed in 2005. So, but there was the question that only it is after 2005 or even before that women have a right. So that issue got resolved by the Supreme Court in 2018. Only after that, women started getting rights. Otherwise, women are not getting rights.
But ma'am, can a women become karta of HUF family after
I
this
think there is
amendment?
some judgment that they can become karta of the HF family. But we don't
Okay.
want HF family only.
That's- yeah. Yeah.
Because that's discriminatory. The entire
That's,
concept.
anyone else has any questions to ask? Yes, Farooq. Yeah.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Farooq. Yeah.
Yes, my thought is how this law shall be implemented in personal life. Because as we know, there is a lot of law against rape and other crimes, but we are seeing that day by day it is getting more. So if government make any laws in in our by court, but how it will implement it in our social life and how it will affect our personal life, because as I think people don't know this much about laws, they follow the traditional values. So how it will affect, I want to understand actually.
It will affect when you go to court. It will affect when you go to court. There will be a law. And when you go to court, it will be
Please mute everyone. Please mute your microphone so that we can hear the voice clearly. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Hamida Ahmed, please mute your microphone. Yes, ma'am. Now, yeah, you can.
What's the question? I have to reply to it.
Ma'am, my question was actually how the law shall be implemented in social life, because public don't know about laws. They are not about aware about their laws. They only follow their traditions from their inherents. Forefather, grandfather, then his father is following these rules, and they are doing like that. So, as I know that there is a lot of different laws about rape and other crimes also, but we are not we cannot control everything day by day. That is happening more. So, if government make these laws in books, then how it will affect our personal lives? Because as I thought that most of public will not be aware of about the laws, and they shall not follow that.
It is true, but when you go to court, that time court will examine. Till then it is okay. Then it's personal life. But if a marriage is not registered, and they say compulsory registration of marriage, and when you go to court for your rights, first they'll say if the marriage is registered or not registered, and invalidate that marriage. Now I'm terribly against this because it will affect women very adversely. Women will lose their rights if you invalidate all non-registered marriages. So right now we have custom that if you want, you can register, but if you're not registered also, you'll still get your rights. Now, if that thing goes, it will be very detrimental.
That's true.
To
Next
women.
questions from raised by A.R. Rahman. Yeah, please, you can ask your questions. A.R. Rahman, you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. I think some connectivity issue. Rabiul Islam, you can ask your questions.
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, are these? My question is: are these personal laws is contradictory to the Article 44 of the Constitution?
Article 44 is a directive principle of state policy. And it says that endeavor shall be made. Now they are making endeavor. All this time they did not make endeavors. Now the issue is, of course, it is contradictory. And Supreme Court has always said, impose an uniform civil code, impose an uniform civil code. But the ground reality is very different. Ground reality is that people follow their own customs and traditions. This is what we have been following. And we are a very diverse country. We are a very pluralistic country. So is it possible? So when the Congress government was there, they never said it is possible. But now the BJP government has made it an electoral issue. And they want to bring it in, and they are supported by the Supreme Court and the Constitution. So I'm afraid it may come soon. But how are you going to implement it? If people do not consent to it, can it be enforced by force? This is the question.
Okay. Next question is Dr. Ashif Akram.
Thank you, Shafraz Bhai, for giving me the opportunity. So, in my mind, the battle is this. In one side, the India that had the pluralistic tradition, where nobody forced you to do anything against your religion, and you can do all your religious duties according to the civil, personal laws. That is on one side, and another side, there is those who are supporter of Hindutva who say that you have Pakistan and Bangladesh as your Muslim countries. Go follow Sharia there. This is Hindu country. Hindu laws there will be uniform Hindu law which you have to follow. So basically, the heart of the debate is this, and FLAVIA excellently talked about this in the beginning. So my question is, once government suppose enacts the law, what happens when a future government comes and try to rectify this or tries to allow for the personal laws to be valid again? Is there a point of return that can be possible, or is it will be a point of no return? That's my question.
Yeah, I think it's a point of no return. Unless somebody goes to Supreme Court and challenges it. That also not a blanket challenge, but point by point. Otherwise, it will be a point of no return because Constitution supports Article 44. Supreme Court supports Article 44.
Agreed. But since it's a civil law, not a criminal law, is there any room for any kinds of maneuver or any kinds of ways to fit that in, like the personal laws to be brought back in?
I don't know once it is passed whether it's possible to bring back personal laws. But you can challenge it in the Supreme Court and see what Supreme Court says. But I am afraid that backtracking is possible.
So all the religious practices, for example, related to inheritance and childbearings and giving wife their alimony and things like that, everything will be under the UCC ambit, right? And nobody can follow their personal religious structure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it will not be criminal. It will not be made criminal to not follow UCC, is it? Or it can be?
It can be.
Oh my God. Okay, I understand the concern. Thank you.
Yeah. They have criminalized triple talaq. What prevents them to not, if you don't follow, to criminalize it? They will have specific provisions which will invoke criminal punishment.
Understood. Thank you, FLAVIA.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, Saidul Sahib. Yeah, please ask your question. Yeah.
My question is related to the possibilities of implementation of UCC. Is it possible, really it is possible to implement UCC? Meanwhile, we are talking about the diversity of this country, different cultures and different people. So the people of India are really concerned about UCC. That we don't see so much hue and cry about UCC? Why Muslims organizations are only talking and discussing about UCC? Is it really against only Muslim personal laws?
At the moment, it looks like that. Because other communities think it doesn't bother them.
Is the UCC is already prepared or it is going to be prepared?
I think it's already prepared, but they are waiting for the law commission report.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah. They're going to bring it in Uttaranchal.
Okay, ma'am, one person has asked questions. It's basically a comment whether this UCC will adversely impact only Muslims or people from the other religion will also be adversely affected by it. So you have already answered earlier that it is going to affect other religions also.
Yeah, but depends upon what they'll bring in the UCC.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I have shared with you whatever I know. I do not know with absolute certainty whether what I'm saying is right. But to the little of my knowledge, whatever I know, I try to share with you. Which we have not seen the draft. We are all talking in the air. We're talking on a hypothesis.
That's true, ma'am. Yeah. So nobody knows whether they have really prepared draft or they might have some draft in their positions, which they might implement later on. Yeah.
Whether it will be applicable only for Muslims or Hindus are also included in that. Hindu law reform will be included. We have no idea. Is it optional? Is it compulsory? All that also be done.
Ma'am, one questions from my side. Do you see any possibility that they will follow the Goa model, that they can bring some law as an optional and voluntarily BCS peoples can choose uniform law?
I don't think they will bring that.
They will bring that, yeah. Okay.
And Goa law is framed by the Portuguese.
Yes.
This is 1910. It's very archaic and ancient. So it's not an ideal.
That's not the ideal, yes. That's true, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else has any questions, specific questions you to ask? Yes, Rayan, you can ask question. Yeah.
Ma'am, my question is that I think the main concern of UCC and society need UCC because it's a fact that women were exploited in every community. But we come to the conclusion that the time of imposing UCC, the problem is that there are lots of schools of thoughts in every religion. Then what school of thoughts will be taken to the UCC? Will it easy to government to bring the UCC? Or will it remain just a dream visions only for political agenda? What do you think? Is it any possibility to?
Now they are determined. It looks like they are very determined to bring in before the next election. There will be opposition, but I don't know what is going to happen.
Ismail Sheikh, you can ask questions.
Yes, sir. Am I audible now?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, my question is about the history of UCC. Is there any country which applied UCC in their country, and what was the effect? And is there any possibility that the country might be broken due to civil wars, etc.? Is there any possibility if
I
India
have
is
no idea
successfully?
actually. They say there is no country which has got personal laws. That's what the Prime Minister said. I have no idea.
That means India is probably going to be first country to implement UCC across the country.
No, all countries have.
Almost all countries in the world.
Oh, yeah.
That means it is very common thing for a country to implement
See,
UCC,
we were
despite the
ruled
fact
by
that
the British
there are
who gave
several
us
group
personal
of
laws.
people.
But when most countries got independence, they have a constitution, CPC, CRPC, all that, and they also had family laws. So we didn't do that.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah.
Rabiul Islam, you can ask questions.
Yeah, ma'am, considering this personal laws and Article 25 onwards, and in some other articles it suggests about the UCC, don't you think that our constitution is at some point self-contradictory, having points of contradictions?
It has. So Article 25 says that freedom of religion, etc. And Article 44 says uniform law. So, but the government is saying it is not contradicting the religion. It is only dealing with their civil rights. So nobody is stopping. Like it is not your fundamental right to polygamy, for instance. You can practice your religion, but you do not need to practice polygamy. That's not compulsory.
But at some point, some religion, if it allows polygamy, then it goes against the Article 25.
But polygamy is not an essential feature of that religion. It is permitted.
No, not essential. It is allowed.
It's permitted. That's what I'm saying. But it's not essential. Supreme Court has already given a verdict on this. Nobody's saying you must practice polygamy. It's an option given, so that option will be taken out.
That's true, ma'am. Yeah. And also there's a risk, like when the polygamy law, which is there in IPC, it a punishable offense. But then you have a CRPC 198, which says only the aggrieved women, so first wife can file a complaint. But when they pass a law for a triple talaq, they did not bring the similar provisions to restrict it that only the women can file the case. It became a cognizable offense which anyone can go. So like anyone can enter the other person's house and interfere with the family matters and file a criminal cases. So differently they have seen when the laws are there against a particular community, they look at it differently, while bigamy law, which is in IPC, it has a different treatment has been given by the law. That risk always be there. In future also, the similar kinds of things might come.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, I think two more hands are there. I think, no, yeah, Farooq. Yeah, please ask questions.
Sir, my question is one thing. Is there any chances to compile the population control laws with these laws?
Pardon?
I think two things are different, Farooq. His question is there any possibility to bring a law for population control? So, and it has no link with the UCC.
The whole idea is that only that Muslim polygamy must be stopped, so that there's no population increase of Muslims.
And I am not telling that compiling means they will compile that that law with this UCC.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. Anyone else has any questions to ask?
There is a lot of questions, sir, actually. But my one thought is that if by that UCC someone is doing polygamy and he's going to jail, then how that this woman shall get the right um, um, what I actually say,
Maintenance.
benefit from this loss. Who will give them compensation and other things? Because if this man goes to the jail, and who will give them the compensation?
Uh, okay, there's much larger debate. We can debate on it, Farooq. No, but the difference which I was saying is, suppose in a Hindu man do polygamy, it is a penal offense. Punishment says 10 years, but no one outsider can file a criminal case. While a Muslim man, when they give triple talaq, anyone in the society, including police, can register FIR. So the two differential treatment has been given to two different communities. So when the laws will come tomorrow, like if they're targeting Muslims, I don't know what kinds of treatment they will give. It's a secondary question what will happen if polygamy can be done. Statistics shows the Muslims are not the most practicing polygamy. So the percentage is more in the other religions. But it's a political agenda which they want to do. And the Quranic version is very clear. Quranic version says is talk about equality only. It created a system where without any discriminations you can do. And some countries in the world have different practices. In Bangladesh, in Pakistan, they have their own system. So I don't know if they have to bring some legal reform citing some practices in other part of the world. Or they can completely prohibit polygamy, or they can they can restrict the polygamy according to mandate of the Quran, because the Quran has prescribed something. It's not blanket permissions in the Quran for polygamy. So if they want, they can restrict it. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
They won't look at the Quran and Sharia.
Mm-hmm.
Uniform law means that they want to go away from Quran and Sharia.
That's true. Yeah. Ma'am, once Sajjad has raised questions, Tanya Lashkar, Tanya, it's a too long question. Why don't you ask directly? Or you can put your comment. I think Tanya says, I think we need to understand that the intention behind bringing UCC is not to have a codified civil law, but to target a particular community. So the debate about what they can legally do is less important, and more important is what they want to do. Yeah, that's true. I think, yeah, Tanya is right. Sajjad has raised the questions how the different practices, usages in marriage, divorce, in other sphere of life between Hindus and Muslim will be uniformly applied in the UCC. And that's important question. How this law will take care of the practices which followed in the different groups in respect of marriage even.
We have to see how it will happen. Yeah. Whether it will be selective, whether it will be targeting a community, we don't know.
Yeah. Aisha, you can ask your point directly. So it's not clear what you intend to. Aisha, you can unmute mic yourself and you can ask questions. Yeah. Sajjad Ali Khan, yeah, your question, ma'am, has already answered it, because we are unclear what kind of law will be tomorrow, that how they can take care of different practices in marriages, so or divorce. Yeah, usage and practice in marriage and divorce. That's your question. So nobody knows about it. What the government intend to do? Yeah.
Can we wind up if there are no more questions?
Yeah, I think it's we have almost 1 hour. It's a large number of questions participant has asked, and it's UCC's unending debate which will continue. It was started from the Constituent Assembly till now. So over to base members to for vote of thanks and or to wind up. Yeah. Okay. Moshu Rahman, just quick questions. Yeah. And please don't repeat the question which has already been asked. So two questions are there. Then we can wind up. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am, Flavia. I heard that from you told the very positive way that it will affect Muslim rather than other religion. And also you mentioned that there is no draft. It's just a hypothesis. So my question is that how can we say that it will affect only the Muslims?
Because you heard no Prime Minister saying yesterday. Law Commission also saying. Everybody saying.
No, is it they have any strategy they mention in the lecture, or is there anything like they published?
No, they said Muslims are the backward, and Muslims because of no UCC, Muslims have remained backward, and Pasminda community and something else and all that, and they're not because of secular people and Congress and opposition parties. They are opposing the UCC so that Muslim can remain backward. So this is what the Prime Minister said. So you can make out very clearly what the agenda is. But I agree, there's no draft, but this is the trend.
Okay. Last questions from Bimal Kumar Bakri. Yeah, please ask your questions quickly. Yeah. Bimal Kumar, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask questions. Okay. So we will. I request base member to just to conclude the program by giving vote of thanks to ma'am. Yeah. Abu Saleh bhai, who will do?
সেটা এইটা অন করে দিলে তো ভালো।
Thank you so much, ma'am and Sarfaraz sir, for this wonderful session. And thanks to all the participants for raising the questions. And I would now request Professor Dr. Sheikh Kobita, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoological Sciences, Alia University, to deliver the formal vote of thanks for the evening. Over to you, Kobita Di. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, perfectly audible.
I deem it's a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable session. Let me, first and foremost, I thank our esteemed speaker of today's session, FLAVIA Agnes, for her insightful and this valuable speech. We are thankful to Dr. Sarfaraz Ahmed Khan also for his valuable contribution. My heartfelt thanks. Please, someone please.
Your voice is breaking. We cannot hear Kavita. I think she got disconnected. But one thing before again she will give vote of thanks. I request all the members, as ma'am has says, we must send our recommendations to Law Commission of India. So the links are available. Everyone knows about the links. Share among your colleagues whatever your views are. Please send your views to Law Commission of India. That's what the madam has requested, said to us, and we also from our side will try our best that as many as persons possible, we must give our views to the Law Commission of India. Whether Kavita will join again or?
Yeah, we are,
sir.
sir, we are trying to communicate with her. So, and sorry for the glitches. I think it's due to some network problem.
জাহিরা তুমি দিয়ে দাও।
Okay, we are extremely sorry for this problem. So as Kobita Di was trying to deliver the formal vote of thanks, but due to some unfortunate issues, that is the network issue, she couldn't complete her formal notes. So on behalf of Bengali Academia for Social Empowerment and Kobita Di as well, I would like to deliver this formal vote of thanks for this evening and the wonderful and insightful discussion on Uniform Civil Code. We are extremely grateful to you, FLAVIA ma'am, for accepting our invitation and for discussing upon all the important aspects of the Uniform Civil Code. We are really we have learned a lot, and we also look forward to maybe learn again from you on some other important topics. So we hope to see you back on our platform and for our future, lectures pertaining to important laws and discussions. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being there. Thank you, Sarfaraz sir, for sharing the session so well and for moderating all the questions and for interacting with all the participants and for honoring us with your insights as well on various aspects of the Uniform Civil Code. We are thankful to all the participants today. We have observed some esteemed members who have joined our lecture today. So we are extremely thankful that you have joined us and you have made the platform so valuable. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thanks to those who have raised their questions, who have made it possible to discuss all the aspects and all the nitty-gritties of this Uniform Civil Code. We hope and we look forward to seeing you all of you for our future endeavors and for our future lectures. We are thankful to all the members of BASE who have, without whose consistent efforts, this lecture wouldn't have been a possibility. So we are thankful to Dr. Abu Saleda, the General Secretary of BASE. We are thankful to the President of BASE, Dr. Saifullah sir, and we are also thankful to all the other members like Hassan Dhabok, Tania Khatun, Professor Shaheen Sheikh, Professor Dr. Sheikh Kobita, and a lot of other members who have been there at the back end and who have made it possible for this lecture to go on for this entire length of 1 hour and 10 minutes. Thanks to everyone, and please take care. And as sir and ma'am both have requested us to write back and give our response and feedback, it is I would request once again to everyone to follow the same. So take care everyone, and be safe, be happy, and Eid Mubarak in advance to everyone. Have a safe and happy Eid, and a very good evening. Thank you. This is over to Hassan.
Thank you, Flavia ma'am, Zahira ma'am, Sarfaraz sir, and also Abu Saleh sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.